Alrighty, let me talk to you. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I know why you're here. So this is an example of a training week for someone who is doing a muscle building phase for strongman in a commercial gym. And again, I want to reiterate, this is specifically aimed at the strongman competitor. If you're just looking to develop the strongman aesthetic, there's probably a better way to train for just the look. This is going to give you both form and function, so let's dive into it. Our first day here, this is going to be our pressing day, and what we're going to do to start off is some form of a close grip incline bench press for a heavy set of 5 to 8, and then 2 back off sets of 10 to 12. Drop the weight about 20% or so. Then we're going to move into a chest supported row variation for 3 rounds of 10 to 12. Then we're going to do a machine press, and what we're going to do here is 2 challenging sets of 10. Then we're going to drop the load by 10% and go to failure. Now the reason we're using a machine press for this is when we're doing stuff like going to failure, I like to use machines for safety reasons, and also too, we're deadlifting the day after this workout, and machine presses will keep you from getting into your low back. Then we're going to do some tricep press downs, and what we're going to do is work up to a 20 repetition maximum, 15 to 20, give you a range there. Then we're going to do 2 sets of what's called a myo match, and what that essentially means is you're going to get to that 15 to 20, taking little rests as you need. So you go 15, 3, 2 for set 1, then you rest, then set 3, you might go 10, 5, 3, 2, just for example. Then we'll do face pulls, same thing, that 20 rep max, and then the myo match, and then the Dix press for 3 sets of 10 to 12. We put that in at the end of the workout because now your elbows are warm, they're pumped up, less likely to strain your elbows. If you ask anyone who's been doing this for a long time, diving right into a tricep workout with something like a skull crusher or a JM press can be very hard on them. This will help you with joint longevity for the long term, reduces absolute load needed for that movement as well. So that's day 1. Day 2, what we're going to do is we're going to hit a deficit deadlift, work up to a heavy 5 to 8, drop the load 20%, 2 sets of 10 to 12. Then we'll move into some good mornings for 2 rounds of 10 to 12 here. We bring the volume down a little bit on these days versus the upper body days, just because lower body tends to take more out of you. That's one of the reasons I don't like some programs like 531 where it's a square progression. All the main lifts use the same sets and reps. Recovery curves are going to be a little bit different. Then what we're going to do after that is a behind the neck lat pull down. Now the reason we're opting for the behind the neck variation is this is going to help you learn to keep a more neutral spine when you do your pull downs. A normal lat pull down, what often tends to happen is you can use a little bit of body English and you're going into that extension, you're going into that anterior pelvic tilt. This puts you more neutral, and also that wide grip behind the neck is going to put you in a greater degree of external rotation. So as long as you're smart about your loading, this is going to help with your shoulder health and your overhead mobility. A lot of strongman athletes tend to get bound up. Their overhead press lockouts tend to look really labored. And then what thing we're going to do here, 2 sets of 10, then we'll drop 10%, go to failure. Again, that's failure with quality reps. Leg press, we're doing the 20 rep max myo match protocol again. And with this, I like to use a deadlift stance on the leg press. That way it has more transference to the deadlift. Then you're going to see curls, 20 rep max myo match. You're going to see the 20 rep max myo match show up quite a bit in this program. I like it a lot for isolation because, well, honestly, I find isolation can be extremely boring to train. This gets me in, focusing on hitting the PR of sorts, hitting the efforts hard, leaving. Just attack progression. That's always going to be the #1 variable. And last but not least, we're going to top off with some high rep shrugs, set of 50. Now the shrugs build your upper back, and then also this is going to have transference to your carrying and loading events. After all, you are a strongman athlete. Then, we're going to take a day off. That's why it goes from 2 to 4. We're going to do a 70-degree dumbbell or barbell incline shoulder press. And the reason we're using this is going to emulate the layback position that you're going to see in something like a log press or an axle press at heavy enough load, but it's also going to keep your low back fatigue down because, again, we deadlifted just a couple days prior. And then additionally, what this does too is this just creates less fatigue versus the standing variation and lets you get a lot more volume in. 4 sets of 10. Then we'll move into a standing strict press variation of choice. 2 sets of 6 to 8. Still important to press on your feet. And again, you won't need to use as much load because you'll have already pre-fatigued here. Then we'll go into a 1-arm row of choice, 3 rounds of 10 to 12. Then Lou raises. So the Lou raise is a lateral raise where you go all the way up with a little shrug over the top. I love these. They're amazing for hitting both your front and side delts as well as your traps. Helps with overhead stability, gets you that big, powerful yoke that can also make squats more comfortable, make carrying events go better, and reinforce positioning in the deadlift. Then, after our Lou raises, we're going to do some rear delt swings. So that's where you're just prone on about a 30 to 45 degree bench and you're swinging the weights out and back using your rear delts. Can't get too much rear delt work. Real delts and triceps are king for a strong overhead press. Speaking of triceps, we're going to do some press downs again, 3 sets of 15 to 20, and that's just to warm up our elbows before we do some incline tricep fold-ins. This is essentially the Strongman skull crusher. Then, our last day of the week, day 5 in your 7-day week. We're going to start with a high bar squat for 3 sets of 10. You could also do a front squat or an SSB squat, whichever you prefer and have access to. We're just going to go with the high bar squat. Then we're going to do some short stride walking lunges. Now, the reason for the short stride on the walking lunges, this is going to help with your moving events. If you think about something like a farmer's walk, Conan's wheel, yoke run, you're not taking very long strides. Your strides are shorter. So this is going to help build power and stability for that. Then we'll do some wide grip pull-ups, 4 sets to failure. And the reason why we're doing pull-ups here is this will help decompress your low back after the squats and the lunges. Just helps with recovery. Then we'll hit the leg curl, 20 rep max, myo match, knee extensions, 20 rep max, myo match, and then we'll top off with some more bicep work. This is a really good sample of how I would program a hip hypertrophy phase for a strongman competitor. And I find that this is going to be really fun, honestly. And what's great about this is a conjugate style template. So what you could do is over here, change out your main press and main deadlift on a weekly basis and think about variations that are going to attack your individual weak links. Anyways, I'm also going to put this up as a carousel so you can screenshot it, share it, save it for later, and see how you like it. Thanks for letting me talk to you. Hope you enjoyed.